Yeah, these days I'm recording these videos in the morning, so not cracking any beers. I'm just cracking my coffee tumbler there. Let's get into it for the news. Gunpla news. Welcome back to the USA Gundam TV channel here for another episode of some Gunpla news. If you guys want to check out some just updates for me on my channel over at Zaku, of course, I've got some updates there in a new video for you guys as well, just talking about my upcoming trip to Tokyo for covering GBWC and the like. So check that out if you missed it, but let's get into the news for this week. So the first thing was that Bandai Japan had their poll, as they sometimes do, and the poll was which Iron Blooded Orphans Gundam would you like to see coming out as a master grade after the Gundam Barbatos? And the winner of the poll was the Gundam Floros with 28.8%. So that's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of that. I think that'd be cool. I love the design of the Floros. Really not a fan of the transformation of that, the bombardment mode or something like that, where it transforms into a dog. That one's pretty stupid, but the Gundam itself I really like, so that would be really cool. And the second place winner of the poll was the Barbatos Lupus Rex, which is also pretty cool. That one came in second place with 16.4%. Now, unfortunately, I haven't seen the poll to see what other Gundams were in the poll, but either of those two would be pretty cool. I'd be happy with either of those coming out as a master grade. Now, these polls don't really particularly mean anything. That doesn't mean that Bandai is actually going to produce these. It's not binding for Bandai. Bandai is just trying to get people's opinion about what they like and what they would like to see. But I don't know. I think it's fair to assume that we will get more Iron Blooded Orphans Gundams coming out as master grade kits. It's just a question of, are they going to follow the poll and go for the Floros, or go for something probably more like the Barbatos Lupus? Would be an easy guess for what will be next, but I don't know where they might go with that. We'll have to wait and see, but surely there are more coming. Alright, now let's get into some figure stuff. We have 3 Gundam fixed figuration metal composite things to talk about here today. The first one is just a reissue, though. This is the RX-7802 Gundam. This would be the origin version of the RX-7802. This is the 40th anniversary version, just being reissued, coming out in April for 18,000 yen. So if you missed the previous release of this, I mean, it's a super nice looking figure, no doubt. So if you want to spend the money on this, then, you know, I think it looks really, really cool. It's a really nice looking figure, so it's your chance to get it again now that it's being reissued. And then the next one, though, is new, but it's just kind of a recolor, essentially. This is the Gundam Fixed Figuration Metal Composite Zaku 2 Type C, coming out in April for 20,000 yen. A little bit more expensive for this one. I think it comes with a little bit more stuff in it, basically. This is basically a recolor. They already had the Chars version of this. This was, once again, the origin Zaku. And they had the Chars version come out already, so this is just the regular green kind of standard color version of this, the Type C. So again, this is the same kind of stuff that we've seen out already in the HG line. They're just coming out as GFF MC figures here that you can get. And again, it looks fantastic. I love the 2 bazookas mounted on the backpack. I think it looks really cool. And all the weapons and accessories and just the overall look of this. It looks awesome. Of course, you have options of making the head the commander type if you want, even though it's just the standard grunts type. You can still make that if you want. So really cool options and everything in that. Just comes at a little bit of a hefty price. But the third metal composite figure here from Gundam Fixed Figuration is even more expensive. This is the Wing Gundam Snow White Prelude, coming out in May for 27,000 yen. So $250, $300 for this. It's going to be pretty expensive. As you can see, it's pretty elaborate with the wings, and the wings, it has the other set of kind of wings on there. Those are the seraphim parts, I believe, on there is what those are called, right? So those are added onto there, and you can do cool stuff with those, having them mounted up behind him or mounted up in front of him, or of course it transforms into the flight form, and then it has those mounted forwards. So it's pretty cool. Again, it does a lot of really cool stuff. It's a little bit too elaborate for me. Some people don't like the wings on this version of the Wing Gundam at all. The angel wings. I don't mind them at all. I think it looks cool. It's a kind of cool part of the effect, but this is even a little bit too much for me, in my personal opinion, having the 2 huge sets of wings. It's just kind of a little bit overdone. But then kind of all of the designs from Frozen Teardrop are a little bit kind of way overdone. You have the version of the Sandrock that has like the big giant shields on it, and then you have the version of the Heavy Arms that has just all the missiles and stuff everywhere all over the place, which is also coming out as a P-Bandai kit. But yeah, so I guess it falls in line with the Frozen Teardrop designs just being way over the top. But anyway, that'll be out in May, and then we have a new Robots Damashi version anime coming out. This line of figures is continuing on very well. We have the Perfect Gundam coming out in April for 6,500 yen for this one. So not only is it the kind of funny, cool, cartoonish version of the kind of like a full armor Gundam with the perfect Gundam here, but it also even includes like the cartoony eyes, and it has like the SD eyes, like a winking eye and like a happy eyes on it that you can switch the eyes out for it, which is kind of funny. But then of course it has all the regular standard effect parts and weapons and accessories and stuff, and it looks like it all moves really cool and everything. So I have to wonder if we're going to also be getting a new version of like a version anime figure of the perfect Zeong out as well to go along with that. I would assume maybe sometime in the future. Obviously that'll be pretty expensive because it'll be pretty large, but this one coming out at 6,500 yen, I'm actually a little bit surprised at how cheap this one is. I would have expected it to be closer to around 8,000 yen or something, just because of it's got kind of all the armor and everything on it and all the option parts. But that does look really cool. Then some Converge stuff. Well, one Converge thing here. We have the announcement of Gundam Converge EX30, which is, of course, the Penelope. We've just got Penelope craze going on these days. So that's coming out in March as well for 3,600 yen. Of course, with Hathaway's Flash coming out, they have to release a bunch of Penelope stuff. Still no Kasi yet, though, interestingly. But anyway, Penelope, of course, you can take the armor parts off of that and make it as the Odysseus Gundam here in Converge form as well, which does look pretty cool. But yeah, that's coming out for 3,600 yen, and definitely looking forward to that. The Penelope, or like any of these really super like big or elaborate designs, I think always look cool as Converge figures as well once it's like really compacted down. So of course the Penelope, if you had like the HG, if you like the design but the HG is a little bit much for you, think it's kind of too big, too expensive, then I would consider just getting the Converge form of it. It's much smaller. It's about half the price, so not that much cheaper, but for what it is. And then I think, you know, just go in and detail up the Converge figure, then you have a really nice Penelope and just a small scale. It's not taking up half your shelf. So I think that's not a bad idea. I'm planning on getting that. I think it looks cool. Alright, we have some G-Frame stuff. So the first thing here is Mobile Suit Gundam G-Frame Volume 9, coming out in March for 500 yen each. So that'd be for each individual box, they're 500 yen. This set is including the Sunanju, the Hazal Custom, and the Gym. So a couple of things about that. Number one, I think, in my personal opinion, the Gym looks a whole lot like the Gym from Gundam Build Fighters. The Gym that came out. It kind of has that styling to it, but you know, it still looks cool. Anyway, it looks better than like the like original anime version of the Gym, in my personal opinion. I like this little bit more stylized version of the Gym, so I like that. The Hazal Custom, of course, looks cool, but the only bad thing about that is that it's got seam lines right down the middle of the legs. That's right through the middle of the big vents on the front and back of the leg, which is not going to be the easiest thing to fix if you wanted to actually fix the seam lines on these figures. So that's gonna be a pain. And then the Sunanju looks really cool as well, and it has this in the black part of the shield, it has this like really intricate design all through there. So not just like the standard gold lines, but it has a whole pattern all throughout the black part, which is it looks really cool. On the other hand, its binders have hollow spaces in the back, so that's really disappointing. So you have pros and cons with these. Although overall I think it looks like a cool set. Obviously the Sunanju, the Hazal Custom are super cool. The Gym, you know, people love it or hate it. Some people love grunts, some people don't really like them at all. Me personally, not a huge Gym fan, but like I said, I do like the styling of the Gym in this case. So I think it looks like a cool set, and hopefully I'll get a chance to check that out for you guys. But then for Advanced Zeta fans, there's going to be a Premium Bandai G-Frame set here. This is a Premium Bandai G-Frame Gundam TR1 Hazal custom option set out in March as well for 4,000 yen. So not cheap for this at all. About, you know, with these G-Frame stuff, the P-Bandai stuff is not cheap at all always, so unfortunately. But this basically gives you a set of 2 Fruitadus and some other different parts option sets, 3 booster shields, and some other parts, so that you can make a bunch of different versions of the Hazal, a bunch of different versions of the TR1 Hazal you can make with this set. So really cool option parts set for this now. I have not ever gotten any of the P-Bandai G-Frame stuff because it's just too expensive, but this one I'm definitely considering getting just because of the cool options that you can make with that. On the other hand, I already got a bunch of these options, you know, for the HG and for the MG, so I'm kind of thinking like, oh, do I really want to get another set? But then it's Hazal Advanced Zeta stuff, and it's kind of really hard to resist, so I don't know. I haven't decided if I'm going to be personally getting this set or not, but it does look really cool. It just comes at a little bit of a price for that, so. Alright, then one more P-Bandai thing. This has been actually announced for a while, but I forgot to mention it. I kind of missed it before, so I'll just mention it here for you guys real quick. This is another P-Bandai G-Frame Gundam set, but this one is a set of 2 figures. This is the Gundam G3 And then Chars Rikdam you can get here as a set coming out in January for 4,000 yen for this one as well. So about 2,000 yen, so about 20 bucks each for each set. Is a little bit expensive, I think, but they do come with some really cool stuff. Like the Gundam actually comes with a lot. It seems like the 2 bazookas, the Gundam hammer with a chain for that, and it has the beam rifle with the flame launcher on it and everything. So it's a pretty extensive set for that. And I think once again the styling, the pre-painting, the decals, markings on these all do look really cool as well. And then Chars Rikdam doesn't really come with as much. It basically comes with the standard giant beam bazooka and the beam saber. That's pretty much, or the heat saber. That's pretty much it for that, but does still look really cool. The Dom, I reviewed the regular G-frame Dom, and that's been one of my favorites from the line so far, of the ones that I've checked out. So I think it's a really pretty nice figure. So that's a pretty cool set coming out in January. Alright, then a couple of Gundam Base Limited things here. The Gundam Base Limited HGUC Narrative Gundam B Pax is coming out next month, or this month, sorry, for 3,300 yen in December. Anyway, so this was a P-Bandai kit before, and now they're just releasing it as a Gundam Base Limited kit there. So if you're going to be in Tokyo sometime in the near future, you can pick this up there without having to go through P-Bandai or sellers or anything like that. So that's pretty cool. I'll consider getting that because I like the B Packs. I like the backpack, but I don't really like the shields, as I mentioned when I talked about that months ago when the kit was first coming out as a P-Bandai kit. So I'll maybe consider picking that up while I'm there at the Gundam Base. Also, Gundam Base Limited Master Grade Jesta Cannon Clear Color. So the Jesta Cannon was a P-Bandai kit as well. Now they're re-releasing it as a Gundam Base Limited kit, but this time it's clear color. So it hasn't been available in clear color before, so it'll be a first time for that. And that'll be out also this month for 5,000 yen. So 50 bucks for that, not too bad, I think. If you're there at the Gundam Base, and you can get it for that price. A couple of P-Bandai things. Now, these first couple are things that I mentioned last week, but we have some new pictures and information available for these. So this is the P-Bandai HGC Gym Grounds type Slave Wraith Core Custom Parachute Pack unit type. Anyway, so this one's coming out in March for 2,300 yen. It's just the Gym Ground type, which we've had out before. And it's just coming with the parachute pack, which we've also had out before with the Ground Gundam as another different separate P-Bandai set. So this is like a combination P-Bandai pack, and then it also comes in the new Slave Wraith Core custom colors, and it'll probably have some sticker markings for that as well. So that'll be pretty cool. It's a great kit, and the parachute pack was also great when I've previously reviewed that. So I think if you missed that and you wanted to pick up this, if you're a fan of this design, the Ground Gym, the Ground Gundam kind of style design, then I think it's definitely a good set to pick up. A lot of cool stuff in there. You got the missile launcher. I think it has two different types of bazooka in there and everything. All right, and then also the P-Bandai HGUC Ifrit Doug Schneid Custom. This one's also out in March for 2,400 yen. Now, I did mention this briefly in the last episode, but what I didn't notice in the last episode is that this is basically exactly like the regular P-Bandai HGUC Ifrit, which previously came out, the one that's in blue. And so the actual model is exactly the same on that. The only thing that's really different is the fact that this one is now in pink, kind of in the Ifrit Schneid colors, essentially. And then it's also coming with, of course, the new giant Heat Hawk axe weapon, so that's pretty cool. So me personally, I wasn't really a big fan of the original blue Ifrit, but I do really like this new color version of it, and the new weapon does look really awesome. So I'm definitely looking forward to checking this one out. The HG UC Ifrit, whichever version of that, I think is a super nice, really solid HG kit, so highly recommended. Even if you don't like this particular version or you don't want to get a P-Bandai version, I would definitely recommend getting just the standard Ifrit Schneid if you wanted a really cool HGUC Ifrit kit. Alright, and the other big announcement to come out was the P-Bandai Master Grade Yzak Joules / Zaku Phantom coming out in April for 4,500 yen. This one is really cool, also very predictable, and we knew we were going to get different variants of the Zaku Warrior. So it's just a matter of which one they were going to make first, and they've gone with making the / Zaku Phantom here first in Yzak Joules colors. So really cool. Of course, it has the gigantic it has the gigantic Gatling guns on its back, which look like it's going to make this thing impossible to stand on its own. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure they're going to be relatively hollow, not super heavy, but they are very big. And then it's also got, of course, just the 2 shields. It's got a shield on each side instead of having just the 1 shield. But I'm wondering if there's going to be parts in there to make this if you wanted to just have the 1 shield. I would assume the parts for making just the regular spiked shoulder for the right side are still going to be included in there, I would guess. But I haven't seen any information on that one way or the other. But if you wanted to, I would imagine that would be included. And so this is also including 2 of the beam axes, but then you also, of course, get the big, long, giant super beam axe, which, interestingly, if you look very carefully, you can see that the beam effects for that look to be exactly the beam effect parts from the real grade Shinanju, just now molded in pink instead of yellow. So that's pretty interesting that they repurposed those beam effect parts for this, and I think it works pretty well, although I will say the longer one looks like it doesn't really quite fit in the part like really well. Like the long pointy part of the longer effect part doesn't look like it goes all the way to where like it should for like the white part of the VMAX there. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm seeing there, but that bothers me a little bit. At first, when I first saw this, I thought, wow, it looks really cool, and then I was like, I've seen those effect parts somewhere, and now I'm just seeing how the effect part doesn't really quite fit in there. Now I'm a little bit upset that they used the effect parts from a previous kit because it doesn't really look like it quite fits right in there. But we'll see. Either way, it does look really cool. I'm looking forward to getting this. I'm a big fan of the Zaku Warrior and its many different variants, so I'm excited either way. But that'll be out come April. Alright, then getting into the big PG news. It's not really all that big, and it's not really completely news, but we have some new images here of the Perfect Grade Strike Gundam. Perfect Grade Perfect Strike Gundam, coming out in February for 25,000 yen. So this is sort of like another sort of 1.5 version of the Perfect Strike, as in a bunch of the armor has been redone, and it's a little bit different in shape and detail, especially more detailed than the standard kits. So getting this full set will give you the full Perfect Grade Strike Gundam with all the new armor for that, and then also all the perfect packs. So you have the launcher pack, the sword pack, and then the new Ace Strike pack with the extra parts on that as well. I think it's like battery packs on that, right? So this set looks really cool. I'm looking forward to that. I've built the Perfect Grade Strike before. It's a really cool kit. The articulation, the gimmicks, and everything on that are really cool, so I'm looking forward to checking this out with all of the new armor details and everything. I think will look really good, and they really match well with the new parts for that. So I think they did this really in a really good way, I think, by making this available like that as a whole big set. That said, if you already have the Perfect Grade Strike and you don't want to spend the money to buy another Perfect Grade Strike, you just want the expansion pack, you will be able to get that, but it's going to be sold as just a P-Bandai set. So the P-Bandai Perfect Grade Perfect Strike Gundam Expansion Equipments Parts Pack is going to be sold separately if you just want the expansion parts, but that's going to be costing 8,800 yen, so about 8,000 yen. So then plus shipping, and then the fact that it's a P-Bandai kit, you're probably going to be paying around $100, if not a little bit more for that, just to get the effect parts for it. So I don't know. I think not the effect parts, I should say, the equipment parts, which is it's a fair amount of parts. The launcher pack, the striker pack, you also get a base for it as well, which is cool. So I think even if you already have the Strike Gundam PG kit, this set is going to cost you a lot, but I think you do get a lot of stuff in there. So if you wanted to make the Perfect Strike, it's a good way to do that. That said, I think the detail doesn't quite match as well. They definitely made the detail match the new version of the Gundam, being that the Perfect Strike parts are, this is hard to say, Perfect Grade and Perfect Strike, mixing that up. The new Perfect Strike parts are really detailed, and I think they match really well with the new armor set, but if you're putting it on the old kit, that doesn't quite match as well, because the old kit, the armor exterior is not that detailed. So it's not, I think, the best matchup, but of course it still looks really cool, and if you're a big fan of the Perfect Strike, I think it's still a cool set to have up on your shelf. It's definitely going to be a big one, and so, yeah, I like that. That said, my only one small complaint, though, is that you can't get the new version of this Strike as a kit by itself. So, like, personally, what I would want to do, ideally, is get one set of, like, the full thing, the whole Perfect Grade Strike Gundam, and all the new parts set, like, all the new stuff, and then one more Strike Gundam with just all the new armor for that. So I could split up the Perfect Strike pack, because I would want to have, like, one with just the sword pack and then one with the launcher pack is what I would ideally like to do. But I don't really want to stick the launcher pack like onto an old PG Strike Gundam, because like I said, I don't think the detail matches. So for me personally, I wish that you could get the new, like, kind of, I'll call it the 1.5 version armor Strike Gundam as a separate kit. But anyway, if that makes sense, I think that sounds confusing, but hopefully you guys get what I mean. I wish that was available. But they didn't break it up that way, unfortunately. For the time being anyway, we'll have to see. Maybe in the future they will. Alright, then a couple other just kind of standard release things here coming out. The HD Build Divers Merc Q1 weapon set coming out in March for 600 yen. This one as well I mentioned about last week, but we didn't have a whole bunch of information about this quite yet. This is just going to be a weapon set that's sort of like aquatic themed, so it's got like a mask that looks sort of like a scuba mask on its face, and it's got the weapons and the gun that looks sort of like a harpoon gun, so it definitely has a very clear aquatic sort of look to it. So that'll be coming out as a weapon set for your core Gundam out in March. And there's one other one that I missed from last time. This one doesn't have a name, so it's just got the tentative name Hero Use New Form Gundam here, coming out from the HG Build Divers line as well. This one's out in January for 2,000 yen for the set. So once again, this will be one that comes with the core Gundam and then all the parts armor set for this. And this one has a pretty unique style in that it's kind of based around beam shields, beam weapons. So it's got the parts in the backpack which form like beam shields, and they can be on the separate stands apparently as like a sort of funnel unit. So it's a pretty cool, pretty unique look for this one as well, and it's just all white, so it's cool how they're doing them all in these different colors and everything. So this one will be coming out in January for 2,000 yen. And the very last thing here is the new version of the real grade Nu Gundam, the RG Nu Gundam and Fin Funnel Effect set. So this one's coming out this month in December for 6,000 yen. This is really cool because this is the kind of thing that I think we would normally expect to be P-Bandai, and it's actually not being sold as P-Bandai, which is good. So basically, this is nothing really new to this set. It's just Bandai's putting this all in one easy-to-consume set for us here. So it's the RG Nu Gundam, the figurized yellow blast suspension parts, this effect parts for that, which you can just buy separately if you want. And then also an action base 4, which is the 1/44 scale action base. The new action base for that. So it's all things that you can just buy separately and put together if you want, but this Bandai is just selling this all as one set so that you can get this and then have the base and have the yellow effect parts for your funnels all together with the set with the RG Nu Gundam, which is a fantastic kit. So if you haven't got that kit, I think it's a really good opportunity for you to get the kit and then get the funnels, effect parts, and everything all in one package. So I think it's a really good package, really good set from Bandai. It's cool to see them doing something like that. That just makes it easier for fans of that Gundam, like consumers, to just get like everything that they want all in one set. And 6,000 yen, not a bad price for that. So I think that's pretty cool. Alright, so that is it for the news for this week, guys. Thank you so much. Once again, go ahead and check out the video on my channel if you missed that, going over some updates and talking about my upcoming trip to Tokyo this coming weekend to cover GBWC finals for you guys. And then I'll see you guys in 2 weeks for a new episode of Gunpla News. That'll be just before Christmas, a week before Christmas. So I'll see you guys then. Bye, guys.